Alright, so last video, this is video 8 of the test 1-3 review. I'm going to do these last 4 problems with y'all because some of them are a little funky, so I want to make sure we talk about it. It says list the domain and range in interval and set notation and state whether something is a function or not. So the first thing is, in order for something to be a function, the x's cannot repeat. So if you had a table, that would be really easy, just look at the table. But if you have a graph, you have to check the vertical line test. What that means is that if I take my pencil, right, so we'll look at the first one. And if I draw my pencil along this whole line, is it a function? Does that mean, does it only hit it at most 1 point? So number 24 is a function. Number 25, if I draw a line, this is not a function, right? Because think about it. If like right here, it hits it at 2 points. So not a function. If it's not a function, it's a relation. Here, we just have list of points. You just have to make sure the x's do not repeat. And right here it does. Y'all see that? So this is a relation, not a function. And then the last one, if I draw my line all the way through, it only hits it at 1 point, this is a function. So got those knocked out of the way. Now let's talk about the domain and range in set versus interval notation. So let's talk about number 24. So I have my graph right here, number 24. Let me zoom out so y'all can see. Alright, so let's first do interval notation, and then I'll do set notation, because a lot of my kids like interval better. So interval notation is how far to the left of this graph goes. So 1, 2, 3, -4. This is a domain. So it goes -4. All the way, you see that arrow right there? That means it's going to keep going all the way to infinity. So when you're talking about domain, guys, it's always left to right. That -4 has an open circle, so I'm going to put a parentheses, and infinity always has a parentheses because you can never actually get to infinity. Now let's talk about the range. So the range is the lowest this function goes, the y value, the lowest, it's always bottom to top. So the lowest it goes is 1, and the highest it's going to go, well, this graph is going to infinity forever, so it's 1 to infinity. The 1, if you see here, these dots are closed, so it's going to be a bracket. Bracket means closed. And then infinity always has a parentheses. So that's the domain for interval notation, domain and range for interval notation. Let's talk about set notation. So for set notation, I have my little squiggly line. X, draw a line. So if we see at this graph right here, it's everything bigger than -4. So I'm going to say x has to be greater than -4. Not equal to, because that's an open circle. And that's it, guys, because it goes forever to the right. So that's the domain for set. The range for set is going to be the same thing but a y. And if you guys look, the range here, so the lowest it goes is 1, and then all the way up to infinity. Even though this is open, this one gets trumped here because it's closed. Oh, sorry, let me lower it down. Even though this is open right here, this is going to be closed over here. So it still counts as being closed. So your range is going to be y is greater than or equal to, because it's closed, of 1. Alright, so are they asking, is this function continuous? Are there any breaks or gaps? This function does not have any breaks. This function is continuous. Let's go to number 25. For number 25, I'm going to do interval notation first. Let me fold this down real quick. Okay? So for number 25, what is the farthest left it goes? It goes -3. And the farthest to the right it goes is 3. So since these are both closed, right, you don't see any open circles, they're going to be brackets. And then your range, the lowest it goes, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. The highest it goes is +3. These are both closed lines, so it's going to be bracket. All right, let's talk about set builder notation. So here, do a little squiggly X. All right, so here, if you see the farthest it goes is -3, and then the farthest to the right it goes is 3. That's a dumbbell, guys, because this is all included. So I'm going to write X in the middle. You go from -3 to 3, right? Because this is my little dumbbell. And then they always point to the left, and they're both equal to. They're equal to because, like in the interval notation, they are closed. So that's set for the domain. For the range, I'm going to write my little squiggly brace, put a Y. The lowest it goes is 4, and the highest it goes is, or -4, and the highest it goes is +3. That's also a dumbbell because everything in between is part of the graph. There's no breaks. So this is also going to be a dumbbell. I'm going to put a Y in the middle. You have -4 to 3, and they always point to, your arrows point to the left, and they're both equal to. And this graph is continuous. There's no breaks or no breaks or graphs. All right, let's go to number 26. So this one is discrete because anytime you have dots, it's discrete, right? So it takes, I have to pick up my pencil to graph the dots. So for your interval notation, and then I have set notation. All right, so for interval notation, you are just going to label the points. So my points are, for your domain, let's see, X equals -3. Label all the X coordinates, -2, and 1. You'll see 1 right here. So those are all my points right there. So -3, 2, and 1. Oh, and there's one more. I think 2, 3, and is that 4? So when I'm doing this, guys, your domain, you don't have to list the X. You just go -3, -2, 1, and 4. That's how you do it in interval notation, just like this. You don't have to put the X equals in front because the D already denotes that this is the X. For your range, you're going to list all the Y values. Now, if any of them repeat, you just write the number once. It's always lowest to highest. So in this one, it's going to be -4, -2, 0, 3, and 5. So that is interval notation. Set notation, you're going to do the same thing, but you have your X and your Y, and you're going to actually list them all. So X equals -3, X equals -2, X equals 1, X equals 4. Close your brace. Here, X equals -4, X equals -2, X equals 0, X equals 3, and X equals 5. That's it. That's the domain and range for set and interval notation. Alright, last one is 27. This one's the easiest one. So here we have an arrow. I know you can't really see it. So interval notation. So farthest to the left has an arrow, so it's going to go from -infinity. Farthest to the right is +infinity. So our domain for interval notation is -infinity to +infinity. Our range is going to be bottom to top. The lowest it goes, don't get confused with this point right here. Remember, there's an arrow. So the lowest it's going to go is -infinity Highest it's going to go is positive infinity. Alright, so for set notation, it's going to be the same thing. I have x curly brace. Alright, all real numbers, guys, when you have negative infinity to positive infinity, how you do that is you just denote it with a fancy looking r, just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing for the y. You're going to denote it with a fancy looking r. And this is continuous because it goes on forever, left and right with no breaks. Alright guys, that's your test, that's your review. Good luck. See you tomorrow.